Dear viewer, let me take you on a journey through time using a time machine to over 66 million years ago, to a period known as the Mesozoic Era or the Age of Reptiles. The Earth's atmosphere was warm and covered with diverse vegetation in various shapes and colors. There was a great diversity of animals, birds, and insects. During this era, reptiles dominated, with different types of dinosaurs ruling the land. There were predatory monsters like the Deinonychus and the Tyrannosaurus rex, as well as herbivores like the Ankylosaurus and the Triceratops. Other types of dinosaurs terrified the inhabitants of the seas, like the Spinosaurus. And there were flying dinosaurs like the pterosaurs, which were the first vertebrates to fly. One of these flying dinosaurs, the Quetzalcoatlus, had a wingspan of up to 12 meters, reaching the height of a giraffe. Hundreds of species thrived in this golden age of reptiles, whether swimming, walking on land, or flying. It was an ancient paradise pulsating with life and color. However, a tiny detail was about to change everything. Suppose we imagine that the dinosaur was observing the stars every night. In that case, it would have noticed a new star shining. The star began to grow, gradually becoming brighter over the course of weeks. Then, on a fateful day, the star appeared as another small moon in the sky and disappeared behind the Earth. The next day, the star reappeared, but this time it was huge, the size of the sun. The star kept growing and growing until the dinosaur realized it wasn't growing. It was approaching. A body pierced the atmosphere at a speed 60 times faster than the speed of sound. In just 2 seconds, it passed through the barrier separating the Earth from space. The asteroid, larger than Mount Everest, was heading straight for a nearby coast near the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. In a fraction of a second, it collided with the oceanic coast, vaporizing upon impact. The released energy was equivalent to billions of nuclear weapons detonating simultaneously. The resulting thermal radiation, reaching temperatures of tens of thousands of degrees, instantly incinerated everything within a radius of 1,500 kilometers. The Earth's crust, shocked by the impact, liquefied and erupted like a liquid. It left behind a crater with a depth of 25 kilometers and a diameter of over 150 kilometers. The ocean rushed inland for hundreds of kilometers. An enormous amount of material, 60 times the size of the asteroid, exploded and scattered violently, breaking through the atmosphere and venturing into space. The force of the impact was heard throughout the planet within minutes, even though it occurred in the Gulf of Mexico. It caused an earthquake with a magnitude of 11, the most powerful earthquake any living being has ever witnessed in history. Some studies suggest that the earthquake shook the massive volcanic fields in India, triggering volcanic eruptions that lasted for 30,000 years. The lava covered half of the Indian subcontinent. Another study suggests that the volcanoes did not occur directly due to the asteroid, but rather during the same period. This further complicated matters for the dinosaurs. The water in the ocean returned to its place, creating tsunami waves reaching a kilometer high in the air. This height is not only taller than the current towers we have, but also taller than any towers humans would build in the future, reaching into the sky for a kilometer. These waves continued for hours. And all of this was not even the worst that was about to happen. The materials that penetrated the atmosphere began to cause damage around the Earth. Some collided with the Moon or even Mars, but most of them returned to Earth. These rocks, as they penetrated the atmosphere, heated up to terrifying temperatures. When they descended, they turned the entire world into an oven for a few minutes. Here, there are two theories. Either the air temperature heated up to hundreds of degrees in a few minutes, or it reached over 1,000 degrees for a minute. In both cases, plants and animals were burned rapidly. The only escape from the fire was if they buried themselves alive or fled to a cave. The fires spread all over the world and lasted for months, turning the Earth into hell. Almost all existing dinosaurs ended up burning or suffocating. The materials that vaporized went back into the atmosphere. And what happened? They got trapped in it, casting darkness over the rest of the world. With the smoke, sunlight was obscured, and the world was engulfed in complete darkness. The fires that burned the planet became the only source of light, killing the last hope for plants that relied on photosynthesis. They also killed massive marine reptiles. After a while, as the fires ended, the temperature dropped dramatically, and the world was plunged into a decades-long winter. At this moment, 75% of the species that once lived on Earth ceased to exist. Dear viewer, this is the closest theory to the truth about the extinction of dinosaurs, proposed by Dr. Luis Alvarez, the Nobel Prize winner in physics, and his son, the geologist Walter Alvarez. These scientists found a massive layer of clay containing a substance called iridium. This is a rare element on Earth, mostly originating from space. Together with other evidence related to fires and debris during the same period, this theory provides a scientific explanation for this event. This event marked the end of an era that lasted over 160 million years. Years passed, and life regained its footing after the extinction. Ages came and went, spanning millions of years, and the world was inhabited by creatures that never saw dinosaurs and had no idea of their existence. However, the planet hasn't forgotten the ancient reptiles that ruled it for years. True, most of their bodies decomposed and ceased to exist, but some bodies settled in water, covered by mud, sand, and volcanic ash. Over time, more layers were deposited on top of these sediments, becoming even harder and resembling layers of rocks. Moreover, the minerals in groundwater and sediments infiltrated the bones, replacing them in a process known as mineralization, turning the bones into stone-like structures. Earthquakes fractured rocks, and rain washed away the soil, revealing to ancient humans a secret of this planet, or rather, a secret of this universe. People, of course, when they saw structures of this size, said, "These are ancient monsters that once inhabited the Earth, rock giants or cyclopses, the one-eyed giants." The author of the book The First Fossil Hunter states that when ancient Greeks encountered fossils, such as the Protoceirota, a creature no human had ever seen or heard of, their guess was that it was surely a lion with an eagle's head. They also spoke of the myth of the griffin. Similarly, the ancient Chinese, when they saw the fossils, named them dragon bones, and when they saw the fossilized dinosaurs, it gave birth to the legend of the dragon. Especially since these structures appeared after rain and thunderstorms, they said, "This is surely a dragon controlled by death, falling from the sky." Imagine that there were creatures called dinosaurs living with us normally, and they disappeared. It was something hard for the mind to accept because it was a stroke of imagination. Days passed, and science evolved. In the 17th century, the English naturalist Robert Plot found a thigh bone. He said, simply, "This is a bone from a creature that lived long ago, belonging to a giant king mentioned in the Torah, like Goliath." Anyway, the bone of Robert Plot was lost, but he recorded it in the history of his helpful nature with the artist Michael Burgers, who drew it with great professionalism, allowing us to get to know it and make a replica of it. Dinosaurs have remained a puzzling mystery for centuries. Until a professor at Oxford in 1815, a specialist in geology, discovered a bone of an animal, examined its teeth, jaw, and limbs. And here, he gave the first close definition to the truth, the closest perception of dinosaurs. This is a huge flesh-eating reptile that became extinct, and he called it Megalosaurus, which is a Greek word meaning great lizard. This was before we knew that there was something called dinosaurs, and even before the word dinosaur was coined. And here, Richard Owen, the Greek biologist, decided to collect this family of fossils and name it Dinosauria, meaning terrible lizards. He still thought, like the scientists of his time, that they were an ancient type of lizard. These lizards did not have anything special except for their large size. And this was the initial perception of humans about dinosaurs, that they were slow, dumb creatures with cold blood, killing each other without mercy. They were not suitable for existence, so they became extinct. They couldn't continue, and their place was taken by superior creatures. We, the mammals, are the masters of the current planet. And the evidence that we, as mammals, are the masters of the planet is that we were still alive while the dinosaurs became extinct. Dinosaurs were not only the largest, but also the most intelligent. A recent study predicted that the T-Rex, with its short arms, by the way, its name means tyrant lizard king, had a brain with about 3 billion nerve cells, more than baboons. So, it wasn't necessarily a stupid animal. But some scientists believed that it was intelligent, had flexible cognition, and had a long lifespan. Of course, this is a big claim, and not all scientists agree on it. When the asteroid hit the Earth, the strength point of dinosaurs, which is their size that allowed them to dominate this planet for more than 150 million years, also became their weakness and the reason for their collapse. The giant dinosaurs, which were living in a state of tranquility, couldn't withstand all the conditions that occurred on the planet. And the mammals, which were living on the margins of life, their small size and weakness were the keys to their survival. But if the asteroid hadn't hit the Earth and the disasters we talked about hadn't occurred, perhaps the dinosaurs wouldn't have become extinct. And if the dinosaurs hadn't become extinct, most likely, we wouldn't exist. And reptiles would have remained the masters of the planet. Their fossils allowed us to know their shape, color, and life without having to bring them back from death. But how do we know everything we know about them from just a few bones? Their appearance, color, behavior, and skin? Let me tell you that sometimes fossils preserve the impression of the skin, like this fossil of the skin of Tyrannosaurus rex. And from what they found, they started to see how the missing parts were connected. This gave them an idea of the muscular tissue and allowed them to reconstruct the shape of the dinosaur on its skeleton. It was an incredibly artistic and engineering work. With some healthy speculation, they were able to visualize the appearance of dinosaurs. As for humans, from the beginning until now, it has been around 400,000 years. Dinosaurs lived for a continuous period of 165 million years. All the myths, history, wars, treaties, and people who came and went, all of that happened in just 300 to 400,000 years. In the age of the Earth, it's like a quarter of an hour. We have lived only 0.1% of the time that dinosaurs lived. If it weren't for that asteroid, our world today might be ruled by dinosaurs, and they might have become even smarter. But remember, no matter how powerful any creature becomes, it is weak in the face of nature. Studies have shown that when the asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs, they were at the height of their glory, and their ecosystems were stable. Contemplating the life and fate of dinosaurs destroys the biggest illusion in life: the illusion of permanence and continuity.